Hi, I'm Jim Brett, President and CEO of the New England Council. Thanks for tuning in to this month's episode of Inside the Corner Office, where we catch up with the leaders of some of our region's most well-respected businesses and organizations to learn more about their career paths and about the institutions they lead. Our guest this month is Brooks Tingle, who earlier this year became the CEO of John Hancock, capping off an incredible 35 years with the company. We had a great discussion about John Hancock's unique and innovative approach to life insurance and their efforts to promote wellness and longevity. We also talked about the company's efforts to promote diversity and inclusion within their workforce and why they view these efforts as a business imperative. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the conversation. Brooks, thanks very much for joining me today, and congratulations on your new role at John Hancock.
Thanks, Jim. It's not sure how new it feels anymore, April 1st, but it's been great and a real pleasure to be with you here today.
Great. You know, we hear from our members that one of the things they really enjoy about our Inside the Corner Office series is getting to know more about the background and the career path of some of our guests. So let's start there. You've been with John Hancock for a little over 35 years, which is incredible. Just walk us through your career path and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, well, I recognize I'm kind of an oddity. People may say that for a variety of reasons. I'm not sure, but oddity in that I've been. It's funny. People say, "Oh, you've been with one company for 30 some years," and I say, "Well, no, I've been with one brand for 30 some years. I've been with two very distinct companies."
Right.
Some people may know that John Hancock was acquired by Manulife Financial, based in Toronto. We're now part of a global enterprise, which is really quite great. But two very different companies before. Although John Hancock, of course, still has its 161-year history here in Boston, and is in many ways, the same DNA that we've always had. But from a professional existence perspective, becoming a part of a global company with 40,000 people all across Asia and Canada and US has been a different experience. But yeah, it's funny, when I came out of undergrad, so many of my friends knew, or I should say thought they knew, exactly what they wanted to do. I'm going to be an accountant, a lawyer, a doctor, an auditor, whatever it may be. I didn't really have that clear notion coming out of undergrad, and really kind of ended up at John Hancock through happenstance, really just through an acquaintance. Said, "Oh, it's a great company, you ought to take a look." And really from early on valued a great deal that the role that a company like John Hancock plays in society. And didn't again know exactly what I wanted to do with it, but I kind of embraced our mission and purpose, which we've evolved, and I continue to evolve now in a leadership position, but started really more or less on the front lines, which in retrospect was a great experience. I mean, I remember there was a show, Jim, I wish I could remember the name of it, but there was this show where somebody would show up at a CEO's office and ask them to demonstrate their knowledge of the company they led. Like, I remember somebody showing up in the CEO of Ford's office and saying, Ford Motor Cars, and saying, do you know how to change oil in a car? And that notion of a leader actually kind of knowing what the company really does, not just intellectually, but in a really sort of granular way. And I'm not saying a CEO needs to have that to be successful, but I feel very blessed to have done so many different jobs in the company. Again, right at the front lines. I've taken calls from customers. I've worked with our brokers day to day. I've overseen, paying claims. I was overseeing claims during 9/11 and personally signed off on every 9/11 claim that we paid. We paid 104 of them and saw every one of those stories. And all of those experiences, I think, accumulated over the history of my time with the company has made it much more gratifying to now lead the company, but also hopefully me much more effective, because I actually do really understand how the company works.
Yeah. Well, that was the other question I had, is what was it about John Hancock that has kept you there all those years, which is, as you say, there aren't many people that stay that long in a company. So there had to be something that's special about Hancock that said for you to say, you know what, I'm going to make a career here.
Yeah, two or three things. One, I'm really sort of values and principles driven person. Like I remember my mom telling me, I think it was right before I started college or maybe after my first year of college, she pulled my brother and I aside and said, you both seem like pretty smart kids. I'm sure you could do something productive, but make sure you do something that where you use your heart as much as your brain and make an impact. Do something good. And it really stuck with both my brother and I. My brother's now a Superior Court judge here in Massachusetts, and I always liked this notion of being able to enjoy personal success, commercial success, while helping people and helping society. And early on, I saw the value that our products could play in society. I mean, trust me, an event like 9/11, and you saw the stories of those claims. And of course, a death benefit or life insurance coverage isn't going to bring somebody back, isn't going to ease the pain of losing somebody. But knowing the difference that life insurance coverage meant for a small child. I remember speaking at a career fair, Jim, for a local university, and some kid came running up to me right after it. And I thought he wanted a job or something. Boy, this guy's ambitious. And, so I said, oh, okay, what kind of job are you looking for? He said, no, I don't want a job at all. I just want to thank you and thank your company. And I said, well, geez, why? And he said, your agent bugged my dad, bugged my dad to get life insurance. He put it off. He finally got a $3 million life insurance policy and was killed in a car accident on the way to work just a few months later. And he said, my brother and I would not be attending this university if it wasn't for that life insurance policy. So anyways, that sort of meaning, and we'll probably talk in a moment about some of the more recent innovations we've undertaken, but I've just had a chance to kind of build on that sense of mission and purpose and helping society, helping people. And then I would just say, as it relates to John Hancock specifically, you think about our Boston community, 161 years in a community. Grew up really in New Hampshire, but I've always been sort of a Boston-oriented person. And John Hancock, and I believe still is just an iconic brand and company in Boston, and I'm excited to lead it into the future.
You already indicated you worked your way up through the ranks to become what you are now, the CEO. How does that experience shape the way you approach leading the company today?
Well, a bunch of ways. One, an enormous sense of responsibility, of trust. I mean, 161 years, you don't want to be the one that messes it up, right? But that's sort of the downside. Like, you want to preserve and protect such a wonderful brand and company. Sense of responsibility for the people, the nearly 5,000 employees we have at John Hancock here in Boston, to create opportunity for them, to have them be able to fulfill their career ambitions and dreams the way I have here. And then some more subtle things, having performed almost every role in the company at every level, I know which managers I enjoyed working with based on how they talked to me or engaged me or challenged me, yelling versus inspiring or different things. So that's really been beneficial. And I do think really knowing the business. Sometimes it's a little dangerous to think, because you can think, oh, geez, I know all this stuff. Well, you don't, because things are always changing. But having kind of worked from the inside out on the company and understanding how our products work, actually having spoken to thousands of customers over the years about how they think about us, really, really informs my leadership style now.
Well, let's shift gears and talk a little bit about the incredible company that you have the opportunity to lead. John Hancock is perhaps best known as a life insurance company, and you've come to your role as CEO of that corporation, having previously led the insurance business within John Hancock. In that role, you spearheaded the development of the company's behavioral insurance solution, John Hancock Vitality. Tell us more about that unique approach to life insurance and the role that John Hancock is playing in the lives of your customers.
Yeah, well, thanks for the question, Jim, because it's something that's really deeply important to me. I woke up about 8 years ago and realized that I was a leader in an industry where no one got any joy out of owning our products whatsoever. I mean, have you found anybody lately that's excited to own life insurance? I mean, yeah, a lot of people feel like they have to, but no one gets excited about it. And it wasn't particularly easy to buy. We put people through a lot. So I'm like, we need to create a more modern digital experience as a life insurer in particular. I think we've always been more progressive as an industry on the wealth and asset management side, but the insurance side in particular has been pretty stodgy and not really innovative. So we were looked around and saw these interesting things happening in the insurance industry. And anyone, joining us on this call today, I'm sure has experienced it in their own life, where if you're a driver and you're a safe driver, you pay less for your auto insurance than if you're an unsafe driver. And your health insurance, most people that are watching this probably participate in a health plan where if you do certain things, so-called wellness program, you pay less for your health insurance. And we thought, gosh, doesn't life insurance seem like the perfect application for that type of solution, where if someone who buys life insurance from us continues to do things that correlate with a long, healthy life, shouldn't they pay less? And shouldn't they be incentivized and rewarded for that? So we developed what I think is a really cool sort of unprecedented program called Vitality, where we give our customers an app that gives them different, tools and techniques to live a longer, healthier life, but then gives them incentives and rewards them. People accumulate points. It's like a frequent flyer program, but instead of getting points for miles flown, you get points for going for a walk or going to see your doctor or getting a flu shot. And it's got games embedded in it. Every 10th workout you undertake, you get to spin this wheel. Looks like a roulette wheel, and you get $5 at Starbucks or $10 at Amazon. And it's really changed what it means to own life insurance. It's we used to interact with customers. Our industry has historically interacted with customers once or twice a year when we sent them a bill or a privacy notice, something exciting like that. We're now interacting with our customers 20 to 30 times a month as they're in that app playing a game or earning points or getting discounts at a hotel stay or something. One of the neat features of the program is that our customers can enjoy 25% off the purchase of fresh fruits and vegetables at over 17,000 grocery stores nationwide. So if you're at the checkout and you buy a $5 bag of apples, right on the receipt, it says bag of apples, $5 minus $1.25, John Hancock, Vitality. So we've gone from this paradigm where we really weren't part of somebody's life at all. If they thought about us, it wasn't a fun thought because it's either paying a bill or thinking about dying, to being in their lives almost every day, helping them live a longer, healthier, better life. So it's enormously good business for us, because you can imagine how our company works on the life insurance side. People pay us premiums. We invest those premiums. At some point, we pay a claim. The longer we can invest those premiums, the more money we make. And we're not shy about that. If you think about it, Jim, who in your life should want you to live a long, healthy life other than your immediate friends and family than your life insurance company? And we make no secret about the fact that we want that to happen. It's good for us. But unlike any other life insurance company, we incentivize our customers to do that and reward them for doing it. So that when I talk at the beginning about values and principles and impacting people's lives, we've seen through doing this for the past 8 years now that we are changing people's lives. We're impacting society by helping them live longer, healthier, better lives. We have elements of the program. Sorry, I could go on about this all day. I'll stop in a moment. But one element of the program is we were the first life insurer to offer their customers a new test. It's called a liquid biopsy. If people are interested, they can Google a company called Grail and a test called Gallery. But through a blood draw, this company can detect the presence of 50 some types of cancer in your body. And it comes back and says, cancer signal detected, yes or no. And if so, it tells the doctor where to go look for it. And we've now had many of our policyholders find out that they have early stage cancer that simply would not have found out if we hadn't offered them that test through their John Hancock Vitality life insurance policy. We had one customer who got the offer, called their doctor and said, hey, my life insurance company offered me this Gallery test. Should I do it? And their doctor said, no, you're healthy. Don't bother. Well, thankfully, the client went ahead and did it. And it came back and said, cancer signal detected. Have your doctor check your pancreas. Stage 2 pancreatic cancer. How often have you heard of somebody diagnosed at stage 2 for pancreatic cancer? It's almost always late stage, almost always nothing you can do. So there's an example, and I'll close with this, but just where, to be honest with you, that's great for us as a life insurer. If that hadn't been detected, he'd probably been dead within 18 months or 2 years. and we would have paid a claim. For the individual, priceless. To know at stage 2, he went through 45 days of treatment, surgery, radiation. He just ran a half marathon recently. So, who knows exactly how much longer he'll live, but a heck of a lot longer than if he hadn't known. So anyways, that's just one aspect of the program, but it's why we get so excited about it, because good for business, good for our customers, good for society as a whole.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great example. That's a win-win. Absolutely. I know that a few weeks ago that John Hancock hosted the first ever longevity symposium here in Boston, which brought together the global leaders across the public and the private sector to share some of the latest research and innovations and to discuss the future of healthcare and well-being. What were some of the key takeaways from that event?
Yeah, well, first of all, we were really excited and proud of that event. It's funny, when I stepped into this role, there were questions about, you recall that we recently ended our 38-year run as the principal sponsor of the marathon, and people were like, oh, geez, what's Hancock doing in Boston? And I kept saying, trust me, we're every bit as committed to Boston. It's just going to look a little bit different. And we're so proud that Bank of America is running with that. They're going to do a great job. And we're proud of our 38 years. And it's not that we didn't enjoy that, but we wanted to try some different things. In this longevity symposium called Longer, Healthier, Better, meaning we want to help people live longer, healthier, and better lives. Just living longer in and of itself isn't necessarily a blessing, right? If you're lousy and lousy shape and unhappy, or lousy health. So anyways, we brought together literally leading experts in everything from nutrition to sleep, to stress, to early cancer detection, to the future of cancer treatment, leveraging a lot of our great partners here in Boston, MGH, the Tufts School of Nutrition, MIT's Age Lab, and others from beyond Boston. So we brought together, leaders from all aspects of science, technology, healthcare, people that are shaping the future of longevity, leveraging a lot of our contacts here in Boston. The MIT Age Lab, MGH, the Tufts School of Nutrition, and more. And it was a wonderful event. We brought a lot of our top salespeople in, industry leaders, but then also wanted to have it be part of what we were saying about our role in the community going forward. And Mayor Wu has been enormously supportive of this agenda around helping people live longer, healthier, better lives, and looking at it locally, help people in our city. Because there are real matters of food and nutrition inequality. So she kicked it off. We had a panel with her and her public health commissioner, which was great. And you asked what some of the takeaways were from a Boston lens, or not just Boston, societal, really. The stat that stayed with me the most was one that the public health commissioner for Boston mentioned, Dr. Ojakutu, who mentioned that there's a 23-year difference in life expectancy between Back Bay and Roxbury. I mean, 2 miles as a crow flies. Back Bay life expectancy 83, Roxbury 69. So it's just an indication when I talk about John Hancock being every bit as much or more a part of the community, of the types of things we want to sink our teeth into. Maybe you won't see us on the finish line at the marathon, although we'll be there cheering on Bank of America and everyone still, but we're investing in Boston. Those are the types of things we're investing in. I really think Boston, greater Boston, can serve as what Joe Coughlin at MIT's Age Lab calls a longevity hub. We can be the hub of this modern longevity economy, bringing together healthcare, research, academia, science, pharma, and financial services. Because guess what? If people live longer, what are they going to need? More savings. So the symposium was really exciting for us in and of itself, but also as a first big example of the new types of things you're going to see John Hancock showing up at and driving in our community as we shifted away from some of the other things we were doing.
Do you think you'll have another forum like that in a year or 2 years to see, the measurements, the progress that you have made?
I would be shocked if we don't. We're already starting to talk about the next one, and to be honest with you, we may open it up. We had lots of people. We weren't sure, honestly, how interested people would be, how many people would show up, so we limited it to about 300 people. we could have put 3,000 people in the in it in terms of the interest. So whether we open it up to the public or customers or who we open up to, I think you will see it again, and I think you'll see it even bigger and more impactful, and something that can be Boston can become known for, John Hancock can be known for, and again, something that's good for business, but has an impact on people's lives, and that's what excites me the most.
Yeah. Of course, in addition to life insurance, John Hancock offers a variety of investment and wealth management resources. Can you tell us a little more about those other non-insurance products that the company offers?
Sure, and it's one of the really exciting things about what we at John Hancock do. I mentioned this nexus between health and wealth, and there are lots of interesting ties, and it's so great as a company like John Hancock to be able to offer solutions on the insurance side, like Vitality, that are going to help people live longer, healthier, better. But then the wealth and asset management solutions that can help people invest and save. Again, if people are going to live longer, and generally speaking, notwithstanding COVID and notwithstanding the opioid crisis, which is compromising life expectancy in aggregate for Americans, but for many segments of the U.S. Population, life expectancy continues to go up. Again, if you're going to live longer, what do you need? You need more savings. So to be able to bring that full range of solutions to bear is really exciting. So we do have a great global wealth and asset management franchise. Here in the U.S., it's brought to life in the form of a retirement business, 401k business. We serve over 3 million customers in our 401k business. We have a vibrant investment team providing mutual funds, ETFs, both proprietary and in partnership with outside managers. We're actually the world's largest natural capital investment manager. I mean, think forestry, timberland, agriculture. We do a lot of management, a lot of responsible management in those areas as well. So it's really exciting. We serve altogether over 10 million Americans through both the insurance and the wealth and asset management solutions, which again, we think go quite nicely together.
Your predecessor, Mary Ann Harrison, came in with a plan to digitally transform the company, which you already said is 160 years old, and now you're carrying on that work. Tell us more about the process and how John Hancock is leveraging the technology to better serve all of your clients and customers.
Yeah, it's such an important imperative. It's such an imperative, Jim. Again, if you think about, I'm not sure how many people watching us own life insurance, but if those that do, think about your experience as a consumer with every other company and industry in this modern digital economy. What's been going on? Things are becoming smart. We all have multiple smartphones, smart tablets. Some people's cars are smart. The average car has 450 sensors in it now, let alone if you're driving a Tesla or something. Many of our appliances in our homes are quote unquote smart now, but yet life insurance is one of these solutions that you just get handed a stack of paper, your policy, and it didn't really do anything. Digital gives us the opportunity to engage our customers in a really helpful and meaningful way along the way. And again, we focus that digital engagement around opportunities to help people live longer, healthier, better lives. And it's been really transformational. We just continue to add to it. We're integrated now with Oura Ring and Whoop, great local companies, and just keep adding more and more to that digital platform to help people live longer, healthier, better lives. And of course, when they do need to look up their policy values or pay a premium or something, we want that to be part of that same digital ecosystem. But I think if somebody was to own this John Hancock Vitality solution I've been talking about, you wouldn't recognize it as a life insurance ownership experience, because it's really primarily happening now digitally. And I think it's just imperative for our industry to do that, to be relevant. I mean, life insurance needs haven't really changed in society. Yes, on average, we're living a little bit longer, but accidents still happen. Despite our best intentions, you still might get sick. But we risk, I think, relevance in terms of how we operate. Nobody wants to be filling out a 30-page paper application to buy something. Nobody wants to be, I joke about life insurance being, I think, the hardest product to buy in the modern economy. Buying a house is complicated, but your realtor doesn't ask you for your blood and urine. our industry does. So how do we make that process easier? And easier means more digital in this case. So can we access people's health records electronically with their consent, of course, to streamline that process? So another one of those things I get really excited about. I'll stop going on, but digital is incredibly important for our industry.
You know, John Hancock has been recognized as a leader when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Talk about some of the company's work to foster diversity and inclusion in the workplace. And more importantly, why is DEI important as a business imperative?
Yeah, I'll start on the second part of that and then work back. Even putting aside for a moment matters of social justice, which I don't mean to say put aside as though it doesn't matter. It does matter deeply to me and to our company. But just looking at it narrowly as a business matter, one only need glance at the demographic characteristics of our nation now and our consumers that we're trying to reach and the evolution that has occurred, the increasingly diverse population of Americans and how that's projected to continue to become more diverse over the next 20, 30 years. And you realize that a company will really be missing the boat if you're not able to serve all segments of the economy, all segments of the community. And I don't necessarily believe that people from one racial or ethnic or otherwise background can only serve people of the same background. But it's also hard to argue that if I'm sitting in a room with a bunch of middle-aged white guys talking about how to reach racially and ethnically diverse segments of the economy or population with our products and services, I don't know. I'd feel better about that conversation if everybody didn't look exactly like me. I'd feel like we'd have more. So, and from a talent perspective, you're kind of fooling yourself if you look around your management table or your employee population as a whole, and if it doesn't at least approximately resemble the community that you operate in or the demographics of the market that you're trying to serve, you're kind of fooling yourself that you have the best talent. You may have the best talent that looks a certain way, but do you really have the best talent if it's not reflective of the broader talent pool? So I just think from a business perspective, we have to make sure that we have an environment that reflects the communities we try to serve, the communities we operate in, and then where people can just, it sounds corny, but be themselves, share their ideas, bring their perspectives, bring their backgrounds. So I think it's extremely important business-wise. There are lots of things we do, ranging from recruiting practices to hiring practices to different programs we have in the company. And I think the thing I would say that I'm most proud of is a really, really vibrant employee resource group population. We call them ERGs. Other companies have them, but where folks from similar backgrounds or experiences will form what they call an ERG, an employee resource group, to come together and talk about the unique considerations. So we have ERGs ranging for people from certain racial and ethnically diverse cohorts to people that served in the military or spouses of people that serve in the military, LGBTQ oriented things, to people with different types of ability challenges, whether they're mental health or physical. So just a wide range of these ERGs. We have over a dozen of them now that are communities of employees that come together to represent the unique perspectives, needs, and opportunities associated with the group they're representing. But it's incredibly valuable to us to have that to tap into. And I think it makes the experience of working at a company like John Hancock more enriching for the individuals that participate in those communities as well. So definitely an important issue for us.
Yeah, I mean, just to give you an example, I'm chairman of the President's Committee for People with Intellectual Disabilities, and half of the members are people with disabilities, IDDD. We don't want people like myself sitting around saying, this is what the disabled community needs. No, we want to hear from the people who live the issue of disabilities every day to say to us, this is the issue that we need. We need wider ramps on an airplane. So when we have to go on a trip and we're in a wheelchair, we don't want our wheelchairs to be, demolished or destroyed. So I understand exactly what you're doing. Congratulations. And you really have an awful lot to be proud of. You mentioned earlier about you're shifting your community engagement here, you're going to be cheering on the Olympic, the runners coming in on the marathon. But talk about what your priorities are here, the community engagements that you're very proud of, that you're highlighting, and you're going to be spending even more resources on.
Yeah, well, thank you. And the community involvement is so important to me and to all of us. There are some things that will continue, shifting gears relative to the marathon got a fair amount of attention, but our commitment to the MLK Scholars Program has been substantial for many years now and continues. We just finished another remarkably successful summer program there. So certain things are continuing. You'll see new things like this focus on health, wellness, longevity, and how we can help in the community on that. Again, food insecurity, nutrition inequality, things like that. So I think you'll see it continue to evolve, but continuity around things like MLK, big supporters of Boston Medical Center, continuing MGH, Demick Center. There are lots of institutions in Boston that we are proud to support, and you're going to see that continue. But around it, more focus on things that line up with our mission and purpose of helping people live longer, healthier, better lives. There are things we're also doing at a national level now with National Geographic Society, World Central Kitchen, that we're proud of as well. So you'll see us showing up in Boston every bit as much, just a slightly different angle on it.
Exactly. Given the New England Council's mission to advocate for federal policy that impacts our region's economy, we always like to wrap up these conversations, talk a little bit about what is going on in Washington, D.C. and how it impacts our region. Now, the New England Council has worked very closely with your team at John Hancock and many other members to advocate for legislation to expand retirement savings. You mentioned that earlier. Good news is if people are living longer and healthier, they obviously need retirement savings. But the good news is the Secure 2.0. We were thrilled that the bill passed into law last year. And boy, are we grateful for the leadership of Congressman Richie Neal, who really led the charge on that. And that was a very important piece of legislation, to say the least. But your thoughts on other pieces of legislation you'd like to see members of Congress in a bipartisan fashion to support. So
first of all, Jim, thank you. You're being modest, but thank you for the great support on the Secure Act 2.0. And I agree with you on Congressman Neal, just a wonderful outcome there. And the ability for people, the auto enrollment in retirement plans. If you ever look at the math of, how important it is to start saving early, can make all the difference in terms of your ultimate retirement savings. So making it easier for that to happen, pushing back the age at which you need to start taking, distributions from it, lets people invest longer. Again, they're living longer, let them invest longer. So great outcome there. And thank you to the council for that. The types of public policy things you could imagine based on what our discussion's been so far that I'm most excited about are things that create the right incentives around things that will correlate towards people living longer, healthier, better lives. So I spent a fair amount of time in DC talking about matters around food insecurity and nutrition inequality. There are weird things in society where sometimes the more healthy foods are actually the more expensive foods, the way some food subsidies work. And if someone's getting government assistance for food programs, should $1 spent on healthy foods count as, go $2 worth? And so people aren't compelled to, buy less quality foods because it goes further. Money goes further on some of those. Sometimes they tend to be cheaper. Things I mentioned earlier, this GRAIL test, this early cancer screening. There's legislation in Congress now to compel Medicare and Medicaid to cover that for cancer, early detection. Every single person participating in this discussion has been touched by cancer directly or indirectly through a loved one. Close to 40% of us are going to end up dealing with cancer one way or the other ourselves. Early detection made such a difference. And so incentives for both the research, the technology, and then for insurers to cover the cost of some of these early screening, early detection things, I think is important. And then just broadly, incentives for industry and every part of the economy to be investing in people being more healthy, living longer, healthier lives. We spend gobs of money treating folks once they're sick. Can we have a set of incentives and rewards and so forth that kind of deals with the root causes and maybe helps people not become sick or not sick as early in life as maybe they do now? So those things probably excite me the most.
You know, that piece of legislation, it's a priority, is to expand the Medicare coverage for early detection of cancer. To me, that's a no-brainer. You save lives, but you also save money if you detect it earlier. It's a win-win. So hopefully the powers to be in Washington may say, you know, this is an issue that both sides can agree on, that is a good piece of legislation that they should embrace, and hopefully that they'll pass. But I congratulate you for taking a leadership role in that. Brooks, again, thanks for taking the time to be with me today, and your passion obviously comes through in all of the issues that we talked about today. So thank you, and we look forward to continuing working with you and your extraordinary team. If I could just give a shout out to Tom Samolak, who did a yeoman job on behalf of John Hancock, working on the Secure 2.0 piece of legislation, as well as so many other retirement savings. You have a great team, and we're blessed to have John Hancock as a member of the New England Council. So continued success, and look forward to seeing you at a future New England Council event.
Well, thank you, Jim, and congratulations for all you do with the council. Great organization. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And to all of you, thank you for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed our conversation, and be sure to tune in next month when our guest will be Melissa Smith, the CEO of WEX.